Morning Uganda Extra.
Pleasure to have you in company. Good to know you're still following up the interesting programs coming your way since the hour of 6 a.m. and I've always chosen the national broadcaster. My name is Sandra Kahunde. Happy to be here and to serve you. Well, I believe you've been having quite an interesting morning, quite inspirational, thanks to the big four, I should say, the big five. Yeah, wow, amazing team. When you think about inspiration early in the morning, join that particular team. Good Morning Uganda team. Yes, Robin, Mullen, Felix, Philomena, Chirabo are giving you more insight into a number of issues. And of course, our guest for the day who gave you the great songs and the great storytelling that she's been providing unto you from the hour of 6 a.m. Thank you so much for being a part of that morning team and still bringing you extra updates this lovely Friday. And yes, interesting topic, interesting insight that we have for you for this particular hour. And I'm sure when you tuned in at this particular hour, you were expecting to see more to do with Pan-African Friday. Yes, you'll be having that beat shortly when I get out of this seat. But we really wanted to update you on a number of issues. Being the national broadcaster, I want you to keep you updated as far as national programs are concerned. And this particular discussion that we're going to focus on, I am joined by a gentleman. When men are in the seat, they're in the lead, things get done. And I'm going to be talking about trade cooperatives and knowing they play an important role when it comes to economic development. That is on an individual level and of course empowering the communities as well. And they were also tipped, if you did follow up the national budget reading, there was a percentage for them. You think about Myoga, you think about the PDM, all those particular programs that have been initiated by government to empower the people out there. And you can think about the trade cooperatives, and they do vary in a number of sectors, energy, health, but are mostly common in the agricultural bit of it. To give us more insight this morning as far as the talk is concerned, proud to be introducing to you the General Secretary and the CEO from Uganda Cooperative Alliance, Asimwe Ivan. You're most welcome to the National Broadcaster.
Thank you so much.
Good to have your company this morning. As
thank
you.
The
viewer, let us get to know more about you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, our dear viewers. Ivan Asimwe, as mentioned, and I'm the General Secretary of Uganda Cooperative Alliance. And besides that, I'm the Board Chairman for Cooperative Insurance Company, which is CIC. And I also represent Africa on the International Cooperative Agriculture Organization, which is a sectoral committee of the International Cooperative Alliance. Happy to be here, and I request all our viewers, be attentive. Cooperatives is the way to go. Thank you. Well,
I believe you're so patriotic, and of course you did follow up the budget reading. We shall be getting into that bit of it all and how you're going to tap into the budget itself. But before we get there, someone wants to really understand the trade cooperatives and how they empower the communities, the individuals, and not forgetting the president always citing out the money economy, each and every single person getting involved and having money on them. It's good to have money on you. Tell us more about the cooperatives of being an empowerment to society.
Thank you so much. Viewers, the moderator, first of all, I want to thank UBC, the board and management, for always creating time for cooperators to come and discuss important issues. Because as we all know, that cooperatives are vessels for socio-economic transformation, not only here, but globally. Because if I can give you scenarios across the globe, you realize that without cooperatives, surely, you cannot support especially the smallholder farmers and also people in other sectors. Now, you have rightly asked a good question, because we need to understand what is a cooperative and what do we do. A cooperative, ideally, in simple terms, is defined as an autonomous association of persons united voluntarily to meet their social, economic, cultural needs and aspirations through a jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise. It is member-owned, member-used, controlled, and benefiting members. That's why a cooperative is far different from a company. Because a cooperative is member-owned, you own it as members. You use it as members. You control it, and again, you benefit from it. Four pillars. And the cooperatives are based on 7 international cooperative principles. There are 7, and then those values. So they are a bit different. Now, globally, if you are to look at the global picture, you can't imagine Europe has developed because of cooperatives. Go to Netherlands, go to Germany, go to Italy, go to France. My God, you can't believe it. You go to America, you go to Brazil, you look at the strength and the power of cooperatives. You go to Asia Pacific, just go to South Korea. There's a time the professor who is in charge of the Korean development strategy gave us a lecture that in the 1960s, Uganda was ahead of South Korea. But as we speak now, we are far away from it. Why? The cooperative model. Go to our neighbors here in Kenya, see what is happening. I was reading of recent that now Kenyans, 85% of them derive their livelihood from cooperatives. If you have been to Nairobi, you see all those matatus. They are for circles.
Well, I believe you're doing tremendous work.
Yes, you look at the Cooperative Bank of Kenya. Look at the insurance sector in Kenya. So, cooperatives are the way to go in this country. However, I would want to thank the government of Uganda, because the government has realized that cooperatives is the way to go. I want to thank His Excellency the President. You see, wherever he goes, he promotes cooperatives. His role is to give us the idea. Circles is the way to go. Other forms of cooperatives is the way to go. What now concerns us, the technical people, is to make sure that the model works better.
Okay. Like I said, I believe you're doing tremendous work, and of course, salute to the association itself. I'm just getting to know the mandate the Uganda Cooperative Alliance plays.
Okay, fine. Now, Uganda Cooperative Alliance is the apex body or the umbrella body for all types of cooperatives. All registered cooperative societies in the country fall under Uganda Cooperative Alliance as an apex body. And this is created by the Act of Parliament. Now, how does it come up? The cooperatives in Uganda, the structure is like this. Individuals, as long as you're a minimum of 30, you come together and form a primary cooperative. Like a SACCO is a primary cooperative because the members are both biological and artificial persons. Now, when you bring primary cooperatives together, a minimum of 2, you form a secondary cooperative, which is a union. Banyankole Kweterana, Bugisu Cooperative Union, Nyakatonzi, West Nile, East, West, South West Nile, East Acholi, like that, all these unions. Then also, when the union secondaries meet together, they also form another form, which is tertiary, like Uganda Cooperative Transport Union, Uganda Central Cooperative Financial Services, and others. Now, when you bring secondaries and the tertiaries together, you form Uganda Cooperative Alliance. And it is Uganda Cooperative Alliance which is the only apex body. Now, when you bring Uganda Cooperative Alliance, plus the Kenya Cooperative Alliance, plus the Tanzanian Cooperative Federation, plus the Brazilian and whichever, globally, you form the International Cooperative Alliance. That is the structure, from down upwards. So what we do mainly as Uganda Cooperative Alliance, and even before I go to our mandate, Uganda Cooperative Alliance was formed in 1961. It is older than all of us here. And why it was formed, the cooperators then, you remember by then, the cooperative movement was very strong. These unions were very vibrant. They were into business. And then they thought of coming up together to form one voice, to have a representation both national and at national level. And then they came together, formed Uganda Cooperative Alliance in 1961. You can imagine by then, cooperatives were very strong, that even in 1964, they formed the Cooperative Bank.
So
Very strong.
So currently, as we speak right now,
Yes.
What is trending? The trending movement in the cooperatives.
So what is our mandate as UCA? One is capacity building. Capacity building is broader. I wouldn't go into the nitty-gritties, but it is broader in areas of trainings, areas of policy formulation, implementation, and compliance. So we do that to make sure that these cooperatives, all forms of cooperatives, all types of cooperatives, have enough capacity and strength to deliver services to their members. Because we have different types of cooperatives in Uganda. Talk about SACCOs, savings and credit cooperative organizations. These are called financial cooperatives. Then we have agricultural production and marketing cooperatives. These unions, Banyankole Kweterana, Ankole Coffee, Kigezi Growers, Busoga, South Bukede, North Bukede, those unions. Then we have housing cooperatives. Those are into the housing sector. Energy cooperatives. I think we are aware now we have very big energy cooperatives that can supply power like Umeme is doing. Like Chegegwa Energy Cooperative is supplying power from the national grid deep to communities in the 12 districts. We have Paida Beam in the northern region, Kitugu, Muguru, and all those districts. Then Gunduguja and the others. Then we have health cooperatives. Already we have many, now they are like 13, but we have one now for doctors in Kampala, which has established a hospital. And strategically, in the next 10 years, we want a first-class hospital here that is purely owned by cooperators. We have the capacity. We have educated doctors. So the moment you mobilize them, you know, developing a country, you don't need witchcraft. You don't need magic. You only need to mobilize people, change their mindset, they understand where they are and where they are going. And they are able to move.
Speaking about mobilization.
Yes, mobilization, you mobilize them, you sensitize people. You know, I can't explain this. You know, Uganda is a part of Africa. Africa is a continent gifted by nature. But every morning I wake up, I ask myself, why are we poor? If you were God seated outside there, and you think of a Ugandan who has been given everything, all the resources, 2 seasons of rain, very fertile soils, security guaranteed, why are people poor?
Okay, I'll pick it up.
The poverty is here,
I'll pick it
and
up.
we can easily clear that.
I'll pick it up from there.
Then, as you come in, the other mandate of UCA is lobby and advocacy. The Cooperative Societies Act, Section 29, says that the Board of Uganda Cooperative Alliance shall engage government on matters relating to matters of policy relating to cooperative movement. So issues of policy, like the regulatory framework of cooperatives, it is Uganda Cooperative Alliance that is legally mandated to engage government on such matters so that we have an enabling environment for cooperatives to operate. The other mandate is arbitration. That is Section 73 of the Cooperative Societies Act, which requires that in the case of disputes, then the board of UCA, of course there are procedures, then finally the board of UCA comes in to arbitrate. And it even goes further, Section 73, subsection 5, which says that in the case the parties fail to get an arbitrator, then on their request of either party, the General Secretary of Uganda Cooperative Alliance shall appoint an arbitrator. Then the other issue or the other mandate is resource mobilization, supporting the cooperative movement, building strategic partnerships to bring resources into the cooperative movement. Like now we are so grateful that because of our strategic partnership with the government, you see government is supporting cooperatives. I saw yesterday in the budget where the PDM, they are allocating 1.1 trillion. The Myoga, they are allocating 100 billion. That is a tick on the side of government. Even if there are some challenges, but you see, you can never have a situation without challenges. What is needed between me and you is to make sure that we clear those challenges, we pave a way for this country to develop. So mainly that's the mandate of UCA.
I believe with the policies and regulations you've been sharing with the viewer help to strengthen the movement itself.
Yes.
And you're saying earlier on you were explaining Uganda being the Pearl of Africa and having all those resources and being given everything for the community out there to develop. And the budget also that did favor agriculture, giving it a 2.2, and the PDM as well as Yoga. Maybe just breaking it down, how do you intend to benefit from all this? Giving an insight to the viewer.
Yeah, thank you so much. How do we intend to benefit? Of course, like as I've earlier mentioned, for us as cooperators, we are so grateful that our president and the government have passion for cooperatives. And even when you read through the budget, the name SACCO, I think, is appearing several times, which is a clear indication that the right path for this country is the cooperative model. And I want to tell the viewers, whether you like it or not, it is the cooperative model that will transform this country. So the earlier the better. And since the president has already had a dream, then for us as technical people, I want to call upon whoever is implementing these programs, let's work as a team. Let's come together. We bring our expertise together, our skills together, we build the synergies and take this country forward. Because we are lucky that already the resources are there. So how do we want to benefit? Of course, when you are talking about cooperatives, you are talking about the smallholders, especially the smallholders. My mother, my father, my grandfather in the village down there, at a parish level, or even at LC1 level. This is a person, every morning he wakes up and he goes to the garden. I grow coffee myself. Now, at the end of the day, does this person have extension services? Yes or no? Does he have storage facilities? Can my mother have the capacity to add value on the coffee? Of course, no, because she doesn't have the capacity. But now, when there is this support, and then our farmers come together, you know, unity is power. And in finance, I'm a finance person. In finance, 1 + 1 does not necessarily mean 2. It may mean 3 or 5. Synergetic effect. So once these smallholder farmers come together, they are able to access all these services, because like an extension work, instead of going to Ivan and the other one, they meet together and then is able to take them through, and then they are able to aggregate their produce together because already they have that capacity. So this funding should be able to support us, especially supporting mobilization. That's why under PDM, there is a pillar on mindset change, to make sure that we change the minds of our people. The poverty of Africa and Uganda is the mindset.
Okay.
But the resources are there, you can imagine. You can imagine.
To cap
Yes.
all those challenges, as you explained them, the mindset change, now
Yes.
that there is a funding, and the awareness itself and the mobilization you're putting across. There are other challenges that you have to address, I understand.
Yes.
Reminding you a little bit of the closure of the cooperative bank that was in 1999. How do you intend to handle all, or go by those particular challenges?
Thank you so much. Like as Aria mentioned, the Cooperative Bank of Uganda was established in 1964. Then on the 19th of May, 1999, it was closed down by Bank of Uganda. However, I have to be cautious when I'm talking about closing the Cooperative Bank, because records show that the Cooperative Bank has never been closed. The Cooperative Bank of 1964, owned by cooperators, it has never been closed. What was closed was a fictitious company called the Cooperative Bank that was established on the 20th of November, 1997. Then 2 years later, it was closed. But the assets of the Cooperative Bank were liquidated. I talk this with authority because even the Solicitor General has already written a letter to Bank of Uganda for the Bank of Uganda to clarify. We have copies. So, and the letter was clear. Bank of Uganda tell us which bank was closed, which company. Was it the Cooperative Bank, the other side, or the other one? So putting that aside, what are we trying to do? Of course, you know, cooperatives were very strong in 1960s, early 1970s. Then in around 70s, 80s there, and early 90s, they got challenges. And then around the 1990s there, after 1990, they start coming up. And of course, Uganda Cooperative Alliance played a very big role, significant role, in reviving the cooperatives, like we shall see. So, for taking that trajectory, now the cooperatives have come back, and they are very vibrant. I can authoritatively tell the viewers today that we have cooperatives, especially SACCOs, which are bigger than the commercial banks. Wazalendo SACCO is bigger than a commercial bank. You go to URA SACCO here, Parliamentary SACCO just next to this building. Then you go to rural SACCOs, Ebirungi biryo Mututi Nimbarara, Ruchiga SACCO, Ryamujungu, you go to Moyo SACCO. They are very big, bigger than the commercial banks. So because of their strength now, they have the capacity to revive their bank. And we have pushed this. Already we are very positive. We have the resources. You know, if let's say just Wazalendo alone has the capacity to create a bank, but Wazalendo plus others in the whole country, we have the capacity to come up with a bank. The good thing is that we have support of government. The government has also come up clearly because they have realized that for us, because the challenge we have here is not that we don't have banks. Banks are there, but the challenge we have is access to affordable and appropriate financing. Well, that's a challenge.
Still speaking about the government support right here, just reminding you in 2017 when the president gave a tax waiver to the SACCOs themselves. Well, apparently we understand there's a year to go to the expiration, towards the expiration date. How do you intend to go by the weight of paying the taxes?
Thank you so much. In fact, it is 2015, 30th of December, and I participated personally. We met His Excellency, the President. And our argument was very clear. You know, the problem of this country is that many people do not understand the cooperatives, but they claim to understand them in their own way.
I would agree.
Yes, in their own way.
Yeah.
And it's not by mistake, it's because we do not study cooperatives. I'm an accountant by profession, but I did not study cooperatives. But I'm supposed to audit cooperatives. The lawyers are here. They do not study cooperative law, but they are supposed to provide legal services. So that is a challenge. Now, URA was taxing SACCOs. And I explained to URA, based on my profession. Because by then, URA was charging SACCOs 30% corporation tax. And then 15% withholding tax on dividends on members, dividends to members. And again 15% withholding tax on interest on members' deposits. And plus 10,000 stamp duty then on any loan that was exceeding 3 million. So we went and met His Excellency in 2015. And because of those multiple taxes, SACCOs could not afford paying. So we went and met His Excellency. I remember him asking to know, which taxes are we talking about? And we explained to His Excellency. And immediately he understood that actually, you know, he understands cooperatives. He taught at Mosh University, so he understands cooperatives. So based on that scenario, he actually understood that cooperatives were being taxed as companies. Because you see a cooperative, like as per the definition, it is member-owned, used, controlled, and benefiting members. A SACCO generates revenue from its own membership, not outside in the public. So when you subject it to 30%, who bears the burden? It is me, the member. Now, the little that remains, if we again take it as withholding tax on dividends, that is double taxation. Because you are taxing the same person. Unlike a company bank, whose shareholders are in Kampala, but is generating revenue in Chisoro. So the revenue generated from Chisoro is outside the shareholding of the bank. So that money, when it comes to sharing dividends, you are supposed to subject it to withholding tax. So based on that, His Excellency said, no, cooperators, you are right. He gave us a tax waiver on all the tax areas on SACCOs up to 30th of May 2015. Then from there, we proceeded to Parliament. I was there, and the other team, because this is the role of UCA. Section 29 of the Cooperative Societies Act, engaging government on matters of policy. So we went to Parliament, and we explained to Parliament, and the Parliament immediately understood it and gave us a tax exemption for 10 years, from 2017 to 2027. So you can now see that the government has passion. It's passionate. His Excellency has the passion. Because I remember in our meeting, he really said, no, if you want SACCOs really to flourish, you cannot subject them to all these multiple taxes. And in the letter that they wrote, they even stated that Parliament will analyze this issue and respond accordingly. That's why in 2017, URA, the Parliament gave us that exemption for 10 years.
So you have intentions of going back the same process?
Now, my appeal to SACCOs outside there is that now that we are lucky, the government gave us a waiver and an extension and an exemption. We need now to grow our retained earnings, because if we are not paying taxes, it means this money is retained under the retained account for accountants. Now, the money should help these SACCOs to grow as we plan. However, we are not seated. In fact, next week we have a meeting over the same. We are meeting SACCOs across the country over the same issue. We are now trying to look at it earlier. Now that we have only 4 years to go, what is our plan? Should we go back to Parliament? Should we plan accordingly? Because there is a need for tax planning. Or do you have enough
muscle to pay the taxes?
Or do we have the muscle to pay the taxes? However, I am so optimistic that given the fact that the government is very positive, it is passionate, you see they are allocating money to cooperatives, possibly they may give us an extension.
I see that. I see that bit of you being optimistic.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, for the viewers still following up, good morning, Uganda Extra on set, giving you more insight to do with trade and cooperatives. That is our guest for the day, Asimwe Ivan, the General Secretary from Uganda Cooperative Alliance. They have something coming through. That is the celebrations. That is 101st International Day of Cooperatives with the theme, Cooperatives, Partners for Sustainable Development. I want him to kindly break it down for us. What are you looking out for? Oh,
thank you so much. And I want to invite everybody. Let us come together. Because you know in Uganda currently, we have 14 million cooperators. Can you see the constituency we have? So when we talk, the country should listen. 14 million cooperators. This is a very big number.
Salute.
Yes. So
great
this
work.
Is it. So I want to invite every Ugandan, and we want all the 42 something million Ugandans to be members of cooperatives. Because ideally there is no shortcut for us to transform this country when people are not encouraged to work together. You know, it is so touching. Why are we poor? I am still asking myself. When you go to these other countries in Europe, you see a small country is making money from us. Just go to Switzerland. It is processing our coffee and exporting Nescafe. You can imagine, I grow my coffee for 3 years. I export it to the other side very cheaply. They just pay me a peanut. They are just there on their computers and they are relaxing. Me, I'm in the garden. Then at the end of the day, they make more money than me. So that is logic. Why don't we organize our people so that at the end of the day, I'm able to grow my coffee as a farmer. We aggregate our coffee together in our society. We add value. We now take it to the next level. I know we have the capacity even to establish a coffee soluble plant in this country. We have the capacity. You know the power of numbers. Just get 14 million Ugandans times 10,000, just 10,000 shillings, a lot of money. Then you are able to establish a processing plant in this country so that instead of importing Nescafe here, you start exporting a finished product and you make money. That is how you grow as a country. So all of this, that's why we are talking about cooperatives, partners for sustainable development.
Okay.
That's where the theme comes from. It is high time, because globally we have over 1 billion people who are members of cooperatives. So it is high time that we started thinking in terms of sustainable socio-economic transformation using the cooperative model, like it has been used. You know, people come here and mislead us. For them in Europe and America, they are using the cooperative model. But when they come here, they say, no, cooperatives don't work. Use capitalism. You go to Netherlands and see. Friesland Campina Dairy is a multinational company purely owned by farmers in Netherlands as a cooperative union. Rabobank is a cooperative in Netherlands. You go to France, look at energy. Their energy sector is managed by cooperatives. But now when they come here, they say, no, look here, for you need capitalism. Why? Because they know through capitalism, we shall have middlemen. And the middlemen are easy to go through so that they can export. And who suffers? It is a farmer. So it is high time that cooperatives focus on sustainable development. This is why the theme is for this year. And the celebrations will be celebrated on the 1st of July. And will be in Lira, Lango sub-region, in northern region. And we're expecting His Excellency, the President, because we love him. He has been passionate to want him to come, bless the day, we celebrate with him, and then we move forward. We will love this country.
And thank you for praying for him.
Yes.
To get back
and
on
we
his
pray
feet.
for him. We believe that God is going to help him so that by 1st of July, we'll be enjoying with him.
Amazing.
Yes.
Well, I love the zeal and the passion you have. It's really amazing. Amazing words flowing from you. Maybe just before we let you go, with all the passion and all the energy that you've put into all this, and wishing well for each and every individual, the communities themselves, as far as empowerment is concerned, what would you envision the trade cooperative to be in the next maybe 10 years or so? Are there innovations or initiatives that you would think of that will help this sector flourish?
My God, I think when I sit and look forward in the next 10 years, Uganda will be, I think it will be first class in terms of development. Because I'm envisaging where the cooperatives will have, they will own their own bank. And it is possible, because we have already started. In fact, very soon it will be in the cabinet. And for us as cooperators, we are ready. We are ready on the ground. We are ready. We have started mobilizing. We have even made resolutions. So I want to see a cooperative bank. So strategically, we have started. Secondly, cooperatives where, you know, previously, whenever you would talk about cooperatives, I remember I joined the cooperatives on the 15th of March 2003. I've made 20 years in the cooperatives. I think I'm very lucky that I started as the smallest person in the cooperative, a cashier of a SACCO, 2003, up to the level of General Secretary. So I've seen a lot of things along the way. Now, during my time, whenever you are all being Makere would call you, Ivan, where are you? I'm working in a SACCO. A SACCO? What is a SACCO? There is very interesting, someone might be called and said, Ivan, we knew you as a brilliant man. Did you fail your exams? Why are you in a SACCO? In the village. But you know today, everybody wants to associate with a SACCO, with a cooperative. We have managers of SACCOs with masters. So this is where we have reached. So I am going to see cooperatives where all professionals are part and parcel of the system. And I will tell you, like today, go to these professionals, they have SACCOs. I'm happy that UBC staff, you have a SACCO.
You think they'll get to the beat of being able to compete with the global market?
Very much.
With the examples they've been
the
giving.
moment you bring on board the land people, previously, whenever you talk about cooperatives, they were for the illiterate, the poor, and those in rural areas.
Those are the parish
But
level.
now accountants, we have a SACCO. The lawyers have a SACCO. The doctors have a SACCO.
In energy and health.
Energy in health everywhere. The youth now, the young people did not want to associate with the cooperatives. They would say, whenever you talk about cooperative, Nyakatozi, that is for the old people, farmers, cotton growers. But now the young people have realized that it is cooperative model that will help them. And most of them have joined. And we have motivated them to join the cooperatives. So in the next 10 years, we'll be seeing very many professionals being part and parcel of the cooperative movement. Industrialization, very wonderful. In the next 10 years, we are going to have industries, especially in agro-industrialization. We are going to have industries for the cooperators. First-class hospital owned by cooperators, we have already started. If you want, whoever wants to see, come to Uganda Cooperative Alliance. There is a hospital for the medics through a cooperative. So, and it is going to grow very fast. Why? Because people love their thing. Yes. We are going to see the cooperators constructing roads and dams. Why not? The engineers have come on board. The lawyers, the accountants, everybody. This is what we are envisaging. So strategically, we are moving. And all this, why are we looking at this? Number one is mobilization. People need to be mobilized. And we have invested a lot in mobilization. Sensitization is very critical. Open the eyes of people. For you to drop the thinking that cooperatives are for the poor, the illiterates, but realizing that cooperatives are the ones that will help you liberate you from the poverty.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, with the mobilization and sensitization, a person like Ruatoro Patrick can mobilize people, about 30 of them, and they're good to go.
Yes. As long as you have a common bond, you are farmers, you are coffee farmers, dairy farmers, you say enough is enough. You know, the history of cooperatives is very interesting. That people realized, especially on the 14th of March 1761 in Scotland, the weavers were doing their work. One of them asks, I've read the history. He asks you people, for how long are we going to be in this? Why don't we come together and work together? Then immediately they formed. In Rochide 1844, they also realized the same. In Uganda here, 1913, the farmers say enough is enough. They were exploited. So based on that, they formed the first cooperative society, which they named Chinakuria, because they had suffered enough and they realized the middleman was their enemy, and they formed cooperatives. And since then, we have had cooperatives now to the tune of close to 50,000 cooperatives in all sectors of the economy.
Amazing. Well, for my guest, kudos to him, and a time well spent. He has done us good. Great explanation, quite zealous right there, patriotic as a man, and amazing. 20 years of experience, and he's still going. He's still walking the talk as far as trade and cooperatives are concerned. Well, it's been a pleasure spending time with you. Thank you so much, the General Secretary.
Thank you.
From Uganda Cooperative Alliance.
Thank you. I'm very happy. Thank you so much.
Wish you all the best and great celebrations come the 1st of July.
And we want to welcome everybody. Let's go on 1st of July. And even before that, we have activities. We are having national blood donation. Last year, we collected 1 million liters of blood. You know, cooperative, 7th principle is community concern. We support community initiatives. So we are supporting blood donation this year. And we expect to collect more than even 1 million, like we collected last year. Then after that, we have a national tree planting campaign. If every cooperator planted 1 tree, in 1 day, we would have planted 14 million trees. Very thick. That's good. That's good. Then we have other activities also before the celebration. So Ugandans, you are most welcome to Lira on the 1st of July. Come and we celebrate together. I want to call upon all Ugandans and all Africans, let's embrace the cooperative model as it is the way to go to social and economically transform this country. I thank you.
Well, great summary. Has just given us a great summary. My name is Sandra Kahunde, coming to you live from Broadcast House, Nile Avenue. Well, in a few minutes from now, at the top of the hour, you're going to be having your team, a Pan-African Friday, remember. They're here to give you more inspiration. Keep watching the National Broadcaster. And salute to our guest for the day. Thank you for making time.
Thank you.
Wish you all the best. God bless you and enjoy your day and the weekend ahead.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
Their support meant so much to me. And as a teenage girl, I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sawuti 116.
Uganda is rich in natural resources and hard-working people. But to turn these resources into real progress and development, we need to invest in our infrastructure, education, and health care. That's where taxes come in. When we pay our taxes, we are investing in our country's future. We are supporting the schools that educate our children, the hospitals that care for our families, and the roads and bridges that connect our communities. And when businesses pay their taxes, they are contributing to the growth and development of Uganda's economy. They are helping to build a stronger, more prosperous nation for us all. So when you pay your taxes, you are investing in the future of Uganda and supporting the progress and development of our nation. Uganda is because of you.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Juko.
Yo.
Wachikuwa. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Wagana, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Are you ready to celebrate a decade of making a positive climate impact? Join us in celebrating 10 years of Tree Adoption Uganda's mission to reforest and conserve our environment on the 18th of June 2023 at Makerere University Rugby Grounds. For a decade, we have been engaging in various climate action activities, especially tree growing, as well as advocating for combined efforts to restore Uganda's ecosystem. And the results speak for themselves: healthier communities and a greener tomorrow. Join us in our anniversary celebrations and be part of the Change Run for Climate 2023. Tickets go for Uganda shillings 20,000. To participate, visit our website at www.treeadoptionuganda.org to learn more about our mission and how you can get involved. Let us continue to plant the seeds of change together with Tree Adoption Uganda.
The Magical Egypt Tour 2023 is here. A heavenly miracle waiting across the natural and divine attractions of Egypt, such as Cairo, Giza Pyramids, Saqqara, Memphis, and many more that will offer the gift of a lifetime. The chance to unlock all of the hidden powers of mind and soul, gain the enlightenment of the past and the future, and develop the power of healing. Departure will be Friday 16th up to 23rd June 2023. Basic package starting at $1,200, 8 days and 7 nights. To register, come to Gotove Tours and Travel at Nalkwego Complex Suta, UG Sexten, George Street, Nakasero, or call +256 758 530 059 or +256 784 568 392 or WhatsApp +256 782 556 078. Only few slots are left. Powered by UBC Television.
Juko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
This is our family's pride.
This is my friend.
This is the future of our nation.
She is the future of Uganda, and the policies I enact today will protect her from teenage pregnancy.
She is the hope of our community, and I will talk to others about how we must protect her.
She is our family's pride, and I will protect her from child marriage and talk to her about the dangers of teenage pregnancy. We each have a role to play in empowering our teenage girls to protect them from child marriage and pregnancy, because when we empower them, we empower our nation. Protect the girl, save the nation.
Their support meant so much to me. I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sauti 116.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
During the month of May 2023, President Museveni made a tour of Greater Masaka and Kalangala districts to sensitize people about wealth creation and embracing the parish development model. The president was happy to note that the people of Masaka have grasped the gospel of wealth creation and are also embracing value addition.
The program we are now bringing in the case of Masaka, katukuongereza
kakati ensonga ya Masaka ya kuongereza kuvaawo kuongereza kwebyo,
because in other areas tutandika butandisi,
mu bitundu ebirala tutandika butandisi.
Yes,
wali kwegamba bya kutandika kuva ku zero. Naye kati wano president yagamba nti kati wano ekisigadde bannamasaka kwongerezaako kwekyo kye batuuseeko.
Therefore, I think here the challenge is to find out those who are still out.
Kakati awo ndowooza ekisoomoozo ekyokutusoomooza kwe kuzuula abo abatannaba kuyingira mu kuyingiza ssente.
And we help them to come into the money making.
Tubayambe nabo bave mu mbeera eyo embi bayingire mu kuyingiza ssente mu nsawo.
Then secondly, to consolidate the ones who are already in the money making.
Ate ekyokubiri kwe kunyweza bano abamaze okuyingira mu nkola y'okuyingiza ssente, bayingidde mu kwagala okukola kuno okwa ssente, tubanyweze.
In this program, we shall look at some of the farmers who have benefited from NADS and Operation Wealth Creation, both projects started by His Excellency President Museveni. Akirapa Tabitha came from Tororo on a project to grow oil palm. Her farm lies on a 1-acre piece of land. Besides oil palm, she grows other crops like coffee, matoke, and sweet potatoes. This is her story.
My name is Akirapata Bisa. I am a born of Tororo. I grew up in Kalangala. In 1999 there, they started mobilizing us about oil palm growing, oil palm growing, oil palm growing. Yes. I was one of them who sat in that small mobilization. Soon they started saying, they have brought a project and we are going to begin clearing. Those who want to grow oil palm, let them fill the forms and we know how much they want, how many acres they want to grow. There I was also happy. I filled the form and I was counted among those who are going to plant oil. This palm oil, I thought that it was going to last for a very long time. But within 3 years, I saw something coming. Then our field officers told us that, that is called the flower. Now the palm oil is flowering. We were very pleased to see the flower. I started harvesting. I started with the 6 kilograms. Later, the crops went on growing, and I started harvesting. Where I'm harvesting up to now, I've picked an average of 4 acres per month. These oil palm trees are friendly to all crops. In order to maintain well your garden, when the palm oil are still young, you can plant their cassava, but not in plenty. Sweet potatoes, rice, and maize. This helps you to maintain the garden well so that the other big trees don't grow and consume the what? The crops, the palm. Even if you have a very little land over about a half an acre, you plant there, you are what? You can plant about 20. You can get money. So long as you keep it well, you apply the fertilizers as the field officers tell you, and you maintain it well from the weeds. Soon you will harvest what is enough, because we have got some having a 1/4 acre, and they use that money other than begging. With some remaining money from the oil palm, I managed to buy big goats to add more money, and I don't buy meat. If Christmas comes, I get one each, and I save that money. From the grass-thatched house, I was able to build this iron roof. From the iron roof house, I went to other bricky, maybe house with the solars. That house would have been finished up to now, but my money got finished when the landlords were threatening me to put the tractor to destroy my house, that I am not supposed to be here, I am not a right land tenant, but the government still helped me. Now this year I am hoping to finish.
But that is now in the past. On his recent tour of Kalangala, Tabitha is one of the farmers who were visited by the president. She took him on a tour of her farm.
Kusawa wanotata weyamba nekwota we walete ebinazi we watusayiningira ku binazi nga biyita ku muwami oyo balironda najambulira labisa omukulu atuleetedde wano project lima binazi ng'anima natandikira ne quarter acre neneyongera nempeza ikazi nya tatu wange kakati wenjogerera wano nfunako akasente nafuna dda akasente akanyamba okusomesa abaana bange bano kakati nsomesa n'abazzukulu ne bamulekwa nenfunayo akasente akanyamba kugendako mu ddwaliro kugulako ekyokwambala kunyako kasukaali kazigo bwe katyo enyumba yava wano natandikira ku titi wali nengenda mu kafwafa k'essubi nengenda ku y'ebidongo biibyo awava egundi eyo kati awe najja nentuuka wano mukama yeebazibwe.
She has now increased the size of her farm to 4 acres. She has also been able to complete her house. Gerard Lugaju of Chikomago village, Namukaka, Masaka district, is a coffee farmer. Gerald, once a businessman, found it hard to change to farming. When government started assisting farmers, he jumped in seriously. He was given seedlings and fertilizers.
Nali musuubuzi kati wenatandika okulima nebisoka nebinkalubirira kati awo gavumenti wenatandika okulya ngetandika okutendereza abalimi nange nekiwuliriza nentandika okulima emmwanyi gavumenti netandika okunkwatirako nenga bwetuwe endokwa bwetuwe nekubigimusa netandika okulima kwange nekutandika okunyangwira n'okutuuka kati lulimu mu 2007 ensawo wakati wa 5 n'enkaaga.
He said that when he had just started harvesting, he used to get 50 bags around 2007, but now he harvests 850 to 900 bags of coffee.
Emisiri gy'emmwanyi nyongerako bwongezi nzimbye ennyumba z'abapangisa nyine ennyumba z'abapangisa emizigo 7 wane Masaka ne Kijabwemi zonna zivudde mu kulima. Nzaani Lugaju eyakoma P7 naye olwokuba kati abantu bava luddawo ne wane bajja okuneebuuzaako ne mbasomesa ate nga kyembasomesa nga kiva mu bulungi ne bagenda ne bakikola ne baneebaza oluvannyuma ogenda okulabaawo ng'olyangamba nti awaayi Lugaju kusindikidde emitwalo 5 10 nti nywa kasoda.
His farm is on a 60-acre piece of land. He has been able to buy cars, build residential and rental houses in spite of his little education.
Omwezi gumu mu nnimiro bwengatta ennimiro nengatta emmotoka nengatta ennyumba z'abapangisa nfuna obukadde 10. Nzaani omwezi okufuna obukadde 10. Naye neebaza gavumenti okuba etuwadde bye tukozesa ebimu ate gavumenti neetuwa abalimisa batulambula ne batusomesa era twebaza nnyo abalimisa b'e Masaka disitulikiti y'e Masaka batuwadde emisomo nenja nange nensomesa abantu b'okukyalo mu kitundu abantu bava Embaale ne bava Busoga ne bava Luddawa nga bazze okulambula ewange.
Nakalema is a widow currently residing in Chanamkaka, Bukoto Central. She started growing pineapples on a small scale until later when she was assisted by NADS with 12,000 suckers. Her farm sits on a 6-acre piece of land.
Naye awo ne gavumenti yajjira nga bayita mu NADS ne basanga tulina ekirime ky'ennaanansi ne batuwa ennaanansi ensimbo 1,000 awo we twatandikira okuyingira mu kulima ennaanansi ne mutabani wange Emmanuel Kigundu. Ennaanansi eno okutuuka okwengera emala emyezi 18 gwe mwaka gumu n'ekitundu. Naye oyinza okulaba nti ebbanga eryo ddene naye ate nga ttono bw'oba oyagala okubeera nga tokaaba nnyo mu ssente olima mu phases tolima musiri guyitiridde bunene oyinza okusimba ennaanansi omutwalo gumu n'oyongera n'osimba omutwalo gumu okusobola okubeera nti buli kiseera obeera n'amakungula amalungi kati ennaanansi eno gye nkutte tugitunda wakati w'2,000 ne 2,500.
She says that a sizable pineapple goes for 2,000 to 2,500 shillings. In season, she adds that she cannot fail to have money in the pocket.
Mutabani wange kwavugira ennaanansi ezo n'azitwala ekyotera ewali akatale ke tutundiramu. Ennaanansi eno kye kirime kye tulaba nti kikula mu ngeri gy'oba tolindiridde. Kirina ettunzi, kirina akatale. Tuyinza kubeerawo n'obulwa ssente yagula sukaali kati nga nze ne mukyala Namwandu neebeezaawo sobola kugula ssente egulira bazzukulu bange kyakulya naddala akasukaali n'akava. Ennaanansi zino tuzirimira ku bunene bwayiika tubadde neyiika 6 ez'ennaanansi naye kati twagala twongereko oyiika endala nga 4 zezo ziwali awo twafuuyidde twagala okuleeta tractor erimewo ate ne wali wammanga waliwo abamukono abatulimirako twagala okwongera era okugaziya ekirime ky'ennaanansi. Sirima nnaanansi zino zokka tulimirako n'emmwanyi tulundirako n'enkoko.
She also grows coffee, rears chicken, pigs and cattle. She calls on fellow women to join farming.
Kunduse ate ekiseera kiyinza okuba nga kya mmwanyi awo nga tukungula mmwanyi. Bwe tuba mmwanyi kweziri ate n'enkoko bwe zibeerawo nga z'amagi ziba zibiika. Emirundi egimu tulunda ne broiler kubanga kati ennaku zino mbadde ndi ku broiler nga gwe nnonda kaya atambula bulungi. Tuzaaza embizzi ne tubeera n'ebyana oba 40 ebyana ebyo ne tubitunda mirundi egisinga tubadde tutundira ku mitwalo 2 ekyana ekimu kubanga embizzi zaffe za lulyo lulungi. Nkubiriza abakyala bannange bonna abali mu kitundu kino n'abali mu Uganda mwenna mwenyigire emirimu timugaya kulima. Okulima ky'ekintu ekisingirayo ddala obwangu kubanga olubimbi twali akukaka ogenda n'olimako ky'oba osobodde.
Lwasa Paul is a resident of Kasekulo village, Mugoye sub-county, Kalangala district. His farm lies on a 10-acre piece of land. He started planting oil palm in 2007. Before that, he was a fisherman but got challenges.
Kakati mu kusooka nali envuba nina amaato nga nvuba naye ennyanja ne tulemerera naye ne tugivaako gavumenti netuleetera pulojekiti y'ebinazi ebabitusomesa nanfuna kigye bigenda okufunamu tusalawo netugoberera tebatugamba netusimba tandika okusimba. Twasimba twasooka kuba abantu batonotono tusimba nga gavumenti beetuwa ssente ezirabirira ennimiro netutandika okukungula. Kati ebinazi ebyo nga bw'obisimba omala emyaka 3 nga bakuwa maintenance nga bakuwa ssente ezirabirira naye oluvannyuma n'otandika omwaka ogwokuna n'otandika okukungula. Kati bw'otandika okukungula abatandika okusalako.
When he started oil palm, he relied on the assistance of government to take care of his farm until 3 years when the oil palm matured.
Amazeeyo looni ze baali naye mu kulima kwaffe okw'ebinazi ebizibu bye tusanga mu kulima abantu abataka bannannyini mataka batubonyaabonya nnyo era ennimiro ezimu bazisalako olw'ensonga nti tetwasobola kubamatiza mu kusooka etya bwe tugenda okubasasula. Bwe balaba ekiva ku nnimiro baba baagala kwefulira waakiri mugabane ennimiro. Kati yiika 10 tera kujjamu tani nga 6 tani nga mukaaga bwe bamala okuggyako transport ne bajjako ne banji tera okufisaawo $1.5 million okuva lwe natandika okulima ebinazi embeera yakyuka nayina akapiki nga kakadde piki nenkatunda nengula empya.
From the proceeds, he has been able to build a house, expand his farm, and life is better now for him.
Ezo netuba nga muntu osobola okutereka nenzimbako amaka nenzimbako ne buloogi 10 nawano wonyini ekibaale nyinawo ennyumba ya misigo 5 enziramu nennima nyinawo nnimiro endala yayika 5 naye lwakuba zikyali nto okulundalunda. Twebaza gavumenti ya Uganda twalize wamu nti yalaba nti twali tubeesinze ku nnyanja yokka, ebibira bino nga bitubonyaabonya nnyo, twali tusala ku mbaawo naye nga n'emiti gikendedde, naye kutwalize wamu pulojekiti eno tugasizza nnyo. Era gavumenti ya Uganda tubadde tusaba nti n'abantu abalala baali badde bongera omukisa. Pozzi n'ekirala ekiringa ate nga kikulu nti mulimu abantu abakyalina amataka nga tebaalima, ate gavumenti ng'egamba tiyaggalawo wano e Kalangala. Ate owulira amawulire amalala ekizinazi kigenda kubeera kya ggwanga lyonna.
He said that he had put all his hope on the lake, but that changed when he started farming, and now calls on other residents of Kalangala who have learned to join oil palm growing. Nalubale Coffee Farmers Chotara was started in 2017 after the president's mobilization visit, urging farmers to form cooperatives to improve household incomes. This group has 400 members, mostly youth, engaged in different enterprises like matoke growing, passion fruit, pineapple, and some fish farming.
Amanya Kaketo Ben, Sentebe wa Nalubale Coffee Farmers Cooperative Society, abamu bwe tuli wano be bakulembeze ba Nalubale Coffee Farmers Cooperative Society waggulu. Ekibiina kino tusangibwa Kakunyu LC1, Kabila Sub County, Chotera District. Ngera Cooperative Society eno twagitandika mu mwaka gwa 2017 oluvannyuma lw'okufuna okusomesebwa kw'abakulembeze naddala Pulezidenti waffe Pulezidenti Museveni nga akunga abalimi okwegatta okukolera awamu okusitula ennyingiza yaabwe naddala ey'omu maka. Cooperative eno erimu ba members 400 ng'era abasingamu bavubuka. Saawa eno tuli nnyo mu bulimi naddala obw'emmwanyi, ebitooke, obutunda, enanaasi n'ebirala, waliwo n'abalunda ebyennyanja. Naye nga essira njagala ndisse ku mmwanyi n'ebitooke. Ekimu ku kyatutandisa ekibiina kino ekirala kwe kulaba nga tukolera wamu tufune kye bayita economies of scale. Emmwanyi zino tuyina ekiruubirirwa kya kulima emmwanyi acres 50,000 mwaka gwa 2023 bwe gunaatuukira, nga kati saawa eno tulima ku eka 8, ng'era eka 8 ezo buli eka esobola okungulwako kilo 1,200 bwe bukadde 5 nga n'emitwalo 4 ku nusu 1200 pa kilo. Era ku eka eyo tuyintercroppingamu amatooke, buli eka erimu ebitooke 10, buli kitooke kitemako enkota 2 ku nusu 8 ke kakadde kamu n'emitwalo 6. Era nga ebimu ku birungi bye tufunye mu cooperative eno kwe kwejja mu bwavu. Twagulako ettaka lino eka 8, tuluubirira acres 50,000 by 2030. Abaanaffe abamu bazimbyeko n'amayumba. Era nga ekirala ng'abavubuka kyongedde otukuumira awamu, kubanga cooperative eno ebitundu nga 8 abavubuka. Kati twebaza President Museveni, President waffe, asomesezza ennyo abalimi n'atubangula okukola omulimu guno mu ngeri eyingiza ssente. Twebaza ebitongole bya gavumenti byonna ebituyambye ennyo naddala OWC, Ministry of Agriculture, ACDP, Kyotera Production Office, okusingira ddala abo abaatuwa ebigimusa, amatundubaali, eddagala erifuuyira omuddo, ebitooke ne seedlings, era twasabayo ekyuma ky'emmwanyi mu ACDP matching grant, era nga gurupu yaffe eyo yali selected, era tulina essuubi ddene nnyo nti ekyuma ekyo tugenda kifuna twongere ku mutindo n'akasente ke tufuna mu makungula gano. Era nga ku kintu kinakukyala ekya value addition, ng'ogyeko nti emmwanyi ezo tujja zikuba, tulina n'enteekateeka ezigradinga.
The group has been able to buy more land, up to 80 acres, but hope to expand it to 5,000 acres by 2030. Nachiranda Rosemary is a mixed farmer from Kabayola village, Sembabule district. Her farm sits on 15 acres of land where she grows coffee, matoke, beans, and pineapples. She received 1,000 seedlings of coffee, which she planted on 5 acres piece of land.
Nze Nachiranda Rosemary, ndi Sembabule, Kabayola. Nebaza gavumenti okunyamba, kale ndi kuyiika 15 naye nga nnima emmwanyi, amatooke, ebijanjaalo, nnima buli kimu nkirima, naye ngenda kwogera ku bino byensinga okujja mu ssente. Bampa emmwanyi 1,000 n'ensimba kuyiika 5, kati ndi mu yiika 8 zensimbyemu. Amaanyi genzifunye mu bintu mwezija ssente zenjjamu, nzijjamu emmwanyi 8 nenzitunda mu kilo nenzitunda 35,000. Nempuzika mu mwezi nga nfunye $2,800,000, toto nemba nga nfunye $5,600,000. Era mu matooke na gavumenti nempa amatooke 10, ebikolo 10, nensimba mu yikazi 2.
She also got 100 sakas of matoke, which she planted on 4 acres, and in a week she can get 100 bunches, and if she sells each at 5,000, she gets 500,000 per acre. If you multiply this by 4 acres, that comes to 2 million shillings on a weekly basis.
Nebaza gavumenti okutukwatirako kuba nkoze ebintu bingi, abaana mu ssomero basoma, tuzimbye ennyumba nze n'omwami wange, tusobola n'okugula buli kimu, era tweyambye. Nebaza gavumenti olw'otubeezaawo, era Pulezidenti Museveni ssebo baawo, emyaka gyonna ffe tuli mabegawo.
In Kisoro district, we met Nsabimana Erasmus, who has been growing Irish potatoes with the help of nuts since 2013.
Mwaka w'ibihumbi 2003 NADIS iza kwigisha abahinzi kandi iri kubagabira n'ubufasha. Icyo gihe bampaye iguniya 5 nka fama, iguniya 5 nzitera mu hafu hika, mbonamo iguniya 30 z'ibimondi. Iguniya 30 z'ibimondi nzigurisha buri guniya 100,000, mbonamo $3,000,000. $3,000,000 icyo gihe naziguzemo umurima, komezamo ndahinga mbafama munini. None ubu ngubu ngeze kuhika 7 izo ndi guhinga ibimondi pingaga insa 70 ubundi 80 kuko season 2 kandi mu gusarura ubundi gusarura mu guni ya 300 na 400 ndazisaruraga na 500 ibimondi byagiye neza iyo byeze neza. Imbuto iyo nkunze guhinga pingaga Kinigi. Rero ndashimira government iriho government ya Uganda yewe na nyakubahwa President Yoweri Museveni Kaguta.
He got 6 bags of Irish potatoes at the start. He appreciates government for extension services given where he has been able to improve on his farm for better yields.
Ubungubu urwego rwongezeho mfite abana bari kwiga bose bari mu mashuri kandi nanje nk'umuntu ndahinga kandi ngakora n'ibindi byo gucuruza byo navanye mu buhinzi. N'ubu natangiriye mu nzu y'ibyatsi, va mu nzu y'ibyatsi nja mu nzu y'ibati y'amabati 25 nyivuyemo ubundi mu nzu ya block y'amabati 130 na base quarters zazo zirahari kandi mfite n'amazu ku muhare ayimana yanshumbushije mu buhinzi.
From the farm proceeds, he has been able to improve his standards of living, educate his children, and also start other enterprises like goat and cattle rearing. He also grows maize and onions. He has been able to work with his family and also give employment to other people.
Kubera imirimo yo mfite ntanashobora kuyikora nje nyine na family. Mfite n'abakozi nkoresha abakozi 10 ba buri munsi kandi ngashobora kubishura mu gusarura nkoreshaga abakozi 30 kandi nkabishura mfashijwe na bya bihingwa ibindi mpinga nk'ibishimbo n'ibigori n'ingano kabona uruhembo rwo kubahemba kandi ngakuramo n'ishiringi zo kunyongerera kubishu. Rero ndashima government kuko babonye ndi gukora neza mu mwaka wa 2005 nadize inka ya mbere ije bampinka bampaye inka bifata neza abaturage banywa amata nta muturage wagera iwanje ngo abura amata kandi nanjye ngakuraho ayisende. Buri munsi y'inka iri konsa mbona 5,000 bya buri munsi by'amashiringi bita imwe nyigurisha agashiringi 1,000 kandi inyungu cyangwa amagoba nabonye mu nka kuragamo n'ifumbire.
In the Antonde, Chisaluoko village, we visited Nsereko Joseph, a mixed farmer growing matoke and coffee. He started with 1 acre of matoke where he got suckers from Operation Wealth Creation. Now he has expanded his farm to 4 acres.
Manya mpiti wa Nsereko Joseph, nsange wano nimira wa ndi musajja mulimi, nsange wano kuchalo Chisaluoko, omuluka Chisaluoko, egombola Kasakama, Yantonde district. Emirimo gyange nga bw'otegedde gya bulimi, natandika n'okulima olusuku nga ntandikidde kuyiika emu. Kakati bwe nagenda mu maaso nenfuna omukisa nenfuna ensigo okuva ebitooke ebyana by'ebitooke nga mbifuna okuva mu Wealth Creation. Ebitooke ebyo nembisimba nebinyamba okwongerako ku ndukusa zange ze nali nnyina nenfuna ebitooke ebirungi. Era wenjogera kati ndi muyiika 4 ez'olusuku nga yiika 4 buli mwezi nfunamu enkota z'amatooke. Enkota z'amatooke 15 nga buli tooke average nitunda singi wakati w'omutwalo n'akanaana.
From the 4 acres, he gets 150 bunches of matoke, and if each is sold at 10,000 to 8,000 shillings, he gets 1.5 shillings a month. He has been able to improve his family's welfare.
Nyumba ez'emizigo so bwentyo era nebaza pulezidenti olw'okulaakulanya abalimi n'okusindikira abalimisa batuyambye nnyo mu kukola ensuku okutulagira ensuku bwe zikola era mbadde nfuna n'emisomo egy'enjawulo ng'ogwa Harvest Ban nagwo gwannyambako okufunako obukugu era kati wenjogerera ebyolusuku mbitegeera bulungi. Mpozi era nina n'emmwanyi. Emmwanyi natandika mu mwaka gwa natandikako emabegako then mu 2015 nenfuna endokwa ng'era nzifuna mu NADS ng'eyambibwako ne Wealth Creation. Emmwanyi ezo kati bwenjogerera natandika n'eyiika emu ne kati ndi mu yiika 6 nkungulamu obungi bwa kilograms 1500 kakaaga. Emmwanyi ezo tuzitunda nga wakati wa siringisi 2,000 ne 1,800 nga mmwanyi nkalu. Naye olumu ngenda ne kukyuma nenkubisa nentunda kase nga buli kilo ya kase njitunda singisi wakati wa 3,500 ne 4,000. So nsobodde okujjamu ssente nogamu sizoni 2 nga buli sizoni njijjamu wakati wa milioni 12-10. Kitegeeza nti sizoni emu enyambako mu kukola gula eddagala naki n'abakozi bange, naye omwaka mbala nti nfuna milioni bw'oba obigase byonna nfuna milioni 14 mu mmwanyi zokka ng'ogyeko emisoso emirala. Nebaza Pulezidenti Museveni okuba nti afa ku muntu wa bulijjo kubanga yatuleeterawo n'okwagala tulime ebibala bino baatuwa ensigo z'emiyembe era nasobola okufunako endokwa ezitali wansi wa 10 naye ziri ku yiika 2 nazo zitandise okubala era nazo nesunga okufunamu ssente. Nja kwongera okwebaza gavumenti yaffe eno ya NRM olw'okuba nti nno yatuwa tractor zino nga beeyita mu Wealth Creation. Tractor eno bagituwa mu group mu clusters nga nze chairman waayo era cluster yaffe bagita Kasagama Farmers Cluster. Ne tractor eno etuyambye nnyo kwanza etuyambye nnyo ng'abamemba ba cluster tuli ba members 12. Etuyambye okulima ennimiro zaffe okwongera ku mmere yaffe n'okulimira ente zaffe omuddo n'abantu okutwalira wamu mu kitundu mu gombola yonna era etukoledde omulimu gwa nsuso.
Gange inyoe omnyolese nsaga bendikito nsangwani mugombora ya Bwijanga ekirima ky'omwani kinu kiri kintu ekirungi muno kandi kikusa kuba nikikazawo omuntu oli kurungi omweka yawe kandi otayina ekintu kyoni ky'okwegomba.
In Masindi district, we visited another mixed farmer, Sensaga Ben, a resident of Chichingura village. He says that from coffee he harvests 6,900 kilograms, and if he sells a kilogram at 2,000, he gets 13.8 million shillings. From the 2 seasons, he gets a total of 26 million. He calls on fellow coffee farmers to stick to harvesting good, ripe coffee for good quality.
Pati ebikaiji endimiremu kagitungamu milioni 2. Milioni 2 ezo ziraho nakyora nabayona ebikyoli byange okwo kyali yena nyowe ebikyoli nkamata kufa omuno nalimayo obuyika bwange 2 nayamu ettani 315 hata unatungamu milioni yange nkemu n'ekintu ate bw'ogenda oteraniza sente ezo zona nkaba mu milioni zange nkaba ningenda laffe ninyirukira kugenda ayi milioni 5 kyonka nkaba mu milioni 3 nezinda kyonka teje nsasanya yo kugenda kugula ploti biki sente ezo zikaruga mu bintu bino ebinkukora kyonka kandi ekikuru omwani guno tunoga abanyayuganda omwani gwisana guti omwani guno niyo kwatya kofi kandi guno nigwo guyinaki omutindo tutanoga omwani ogubi otwanoga ebyani bya green coffee bininya bino ati green coffee bino oja kwesanga bino nibikoya black bean hata katale nikafa ntugamba ngo omwani tugugira ki akatale. President White on Museveni ekintu kyobugaiga kituyiyize bojo muntu akwenda ata akuleteire omwani abukwaire gwabusa n'ekikumi to kitaireyo nabwe kyatano nkuterera abanyayuganda otwabantu twetaaga gavumenti yaitu eno ya Uganda kukurakurana kukoraki abasajja twekambire kima kyomwana sensaganya omukurano nkabandi musajja munaku muno churu kandi obwire bwona obwongo buno obwange bwatekerezaga mu mwenge bwire bwona kugenda mu mwenge kusiba mpaka kusiba mu masenta kutere mpaka.
He says he was a drunkard, but now he's a hard-working man.
Mwenge kusigikira bwa muzeyi program zezi yaresere ezokuterera abantu kurugo munaku.
Kabaihura Dairy Farm is found in Bushenyi district. It is a mixed modern farm headed by a director and founded by Mohozi Eliab.
This is Kabaihura Farm. It's a mixed farm. We do dairy farming, tea farming, poultry, and fish. Under dairy, we have we process, we add value to our milk. We process about 500 liters per day, and we milk about 500 to 600 liters a day. So basically, what you see here, these are heifers. These are heifers which are almost due for serving. So in brief, this is what we do. Maybe we shall concentrate on the dairy unit for today. So like I've said, from here we shall go to the value addition unit where we process yogurt and ghee, which we sell to the local community around here. This is where we process our yogurt from. It is a simple system. We pasteurize.
The farm also adds value to milk to avoid wastage and make more money.
We have strawberry yogurt and vanilla yogurt. From where we've been in the dairy unit, the farm, it has helped us upgrade to value addition, whereby all the milk is converted to yogurt and ghee.
I started this dairy farm in 1975. By processing yogurt, we are avoiding the raw milk product, the raw milk prices currently happening in the country. Because with the value addition, our milk is now valued at more than 1,000 shillings.
On the beautiful hills of Bushenyi district, we visited Tweheyo Gordon, a tea farmer. He started his farm in 2017. He received tea seedlings from Operation Wealth Creation.
Amazina ndabanyita Tweheyo Gordon kandi katanu kubyara amajyanaga 2017 mu kwezi kwa 10.
We started planting this estate in November, October 2017.
Na byaraho eka magana 3.
He has so far planted 300 acres.
Eka makumyana tizakabirwe.
And is remaining with 40 acres unplanted.
Kandi hatobwa hati ntufuna ntuyihamo amajyana kuko imidwari 12 okwezi.
He has started harvesting and currently is making a harvest of about 120,000 kilograms of green leaf per month.
Kongana teka kuyihamu emitwaro 24 kuza emitwaro 30 ahagabye.
But at full establishment he is expecting to harvest between 240 and 300 kilograms of green leaf per month.
Amajyane tukagahebwa government eje yiturumu
He received seedlings from government under order of use program.
Kandi tusima government umurimo gwe tukorire okutereza embebo tukatandika project zikakora. Amajana gantushoroma average ya kilo 50 buri izobo bwa hati.
Currently is making a harvest of 5,000 kilograms per day.
Emotoka buri zo zitwara amajani
and vehicles pick the tea every evening.
Kandi ntwagira government eji twenda ngwe gumeho.
Yeah, is supportive to government.
Abu burunje bwe tukorire n'ebirunje bye tukorire
for the good work it has done.
Obusinje na nentunguka
peace and prosperity.
Apart from growing tea, he has given employment to local people in his community. Pamanya Ham is a matoke grower from Bushenyi district, Nyamavare, a one village. He picked interest after listening to the president's 4-acre model campaign for poverty eradication. He is now a proud farmer. This is his story.
By names, Hamumbamanya. I'm a Matoke farmer. When His Excellency the President of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, started teaching us on how to go into commercial farming, I picked his message, especially that one of having one enterprise, you increase its output and you earn more than 20 million in a year. So when he spread this message, I picked interest in matoke growing. I started small, like 5 years ago. I started with around 1 acre of matoke. And I could make sales per month, but I saw it was not enough. And because I had got this message from His Excellency the President, I aimed at earning more than 20 million a year. I gradually expanded. I now have a matoke plantation of, I think, between 7 to 8 acres, around 8 acres now. And my income per month ranges between 4 million and 5 million per month from this matoke. Because currently now, I sell a bunch at 15,000 shillings. And in a month, I harvest 2 or 3 times. And each time I harvest, I sell 150 bunches of matoke. 150, 130, sometimes 170. And I normally sell 2 times or 3 times in a month. But farming, to know that farming is good, even during that serious lockdown, when we would not move out, I know my income from this plantation has never fallen below 1.5 million per month. I have no problem. I'm actually very grateful to His Excellency the President of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who taught us how to migrate from subsistence farming and we do commercial farming. Expand on an enterprise and ensure that this enterprise sustains you and your family and you develop.
Finally, the issue of the infrastructure.
Ebintu ebikozesa ng'enguudo ebisingi ebintu ebyo by'emisingi.
We are going to continue with the tarmac roads.
Tujagenda maaso n'okukola enguudo za kolansi.
But as I told you, the money is not Museveni from Kirombe.
naye nga bamutegedde nti sente tebazisimanga mu ssenyu mu kirombe.
It is a struggle to get this money.
Kutuyana okwerwanako okufuna sente zo. It will be a more serious.
But I know Rusalira, Nkongi, Makore, Ntuti, Sembabure. Then I think it will go, because it is supposed to go to the border with Tanzania.
Yes, sir.
Ngudeyo
somye.
Kubanga yakuyamba okuleta ebifo by'amafuta eri that one will be done. Now, I don't know whether it will solve kubanga nebanja lya Ndirizi, Matete, Sembabule.
Simanyi bulungi oba lunaaba lukwatagana na luno olusangiddwawo wa Mbirizi ne Matete Sembabule.
Ate nebanja lya Kyawakuza, Kibinge, Sembabule. Oba Matete.
Kyawakuza, Kibinge, Matete.
Nebanja lya Ntonde, Lumbugu, Rakai. Amabanja ago ngamanyi.
Amabanja ago gonna agamanyi omukulu. Gonna nage Kalungu eyo.
Oh. Kyabuliwa, Kalungu, Bugoma, Kifamba. Kubanga wala muti Bugoma yerekedde Katongo kunyiga. Now, so definitely we shall work on these roads. But in the meantime, we should have good Maram roads. Masaka Mutual is being worked on. That one is funded. They are going to start on it now. But also remember, Maram roads can also do. Today, I came from Kakunyu, I landed somewhere.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
It takes courage, passion, practical engagement, career interest, vision, targets who want to create a thriving economic empire. Entrepreneurs Hub giving you a deep and unique insight into agribusiness, services, ICT and innovation, industrialization and so much more. Entrepreneurs Hub growing your small, medium and large business entity with yours truly, Sandra Kahunde, right here on UBC, Inspiring Uganda.
NBC, inspiring Uganda.
Super Soul Sisters, and we're so glad you're joining us yet again for another episode. My name is Rowena Kajumba, and I must say today I'm particularly excited, and I hope everyone at home is excited, because our Super Soul Sister is none other than Honorable Dr. Miriam Matembe, and of course she has been able to squeeze in and make time for us so that we can engage and talk and walk through her journey and know what it is like to have our Super Soul Sisters in the work environment. Now, so many times we ask, or you ask, why we focus on women. Now, the women tell their stories, the women help other young women and men to see that this is something that we need to support and engage and help our young women also to close that gap, or at least come close to the gap. And for me, I'm very excited. And of course, this is going to be an interesting conversation. She's someone that is very vocal in terms of issues of women, and of course she has always looked at what we call justice. She always seeks out for justice, and that is one thing that I think we all do appreciate about her. You're very welcome, Maripo.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Now, before all the titles that we are talking about here, and of course well deserved, the people out there probably would want to hear from you here on Super Soul Sisters, who Miriam Matembe is.
Well, and thank you very much for inviting me to share my life experience in this program.
Yes.
Today I don't feel super excited, but nevertheless, you will. If you provoke me, then we shall excite the program.
Yes.
Well, as you have heard, I am Miriam Matembe.
Yes.
My names, original names at birth was Miria Koburunga, and my father is Rukoza. Therefore, my full names are Miria Rukoza Koburunga Matembe. Matembe is the acquired name through marriage. It is the name of my husband. Now, well, I'm now a senior citizen in this country, but I have walked a journey right from childhood up to this stage. Otherwise, I was born many years ago in a village called Rutoma with Wera, Kashari, which is currently called Mbarara district. The county Kashari is now called Mbarara district, and by the way, it is a distinguished county because many distinguished men and women originated from that
from the area, from the county.
Even the village, even the king of Ankore comes from the same area. Although now they refuse to give us our king, but the home is there, the princesses are there, princes are there.
And so many Ugandans may be surprised.
And so that's my place where I was born. Where I was born to Mr. and Mrs. Samuel and Cesar Koza with 9 children. I had 8 siblings, but unfortunately now only 4 of us are remaining. 3 girls and 1 boy, our firstborn. We have the firstborn, the second-born, and then me, I was the 4th-born. And I think the 6th-born is still there. Others passed on, and many of them passed on to Are. But among them, the Lord God who created me for a purpose, which I have served very passionately and I continue to serve, honored me to be the most, the one from 4th child to the highest. I am like the one who has sustained the family and and up to now, and got the highest position and the highest, what you'd call honor in the family. The boys were 5, but the girls, we were 4.
Yes.
Our parents were peasants. Peasants, the poor parents, as you know them. But one good thing I thank my parents for is that they paid the school fees for us. My father, I would say my father, because by then my mother had no right to participate in any decision. So at least my father decided to put all of us, boys and girls, in school, and it depended on each one's intelligence and wisdom and ability to proceed. But good enough for me, I was, from the early stages, I was the one doing the best. And I remember when we would come back from school at the end of the term, and they are going to put reports on the table for my father to come and see. They made sure that my report was on top, because it was either I'm the first or the second, and once he sees it, then he's not so angry with the others. And I remember I used to even do running. I would get presents, like on speech day you get plates, you get cups, you get. I remember at one time in P7 I participated in a handwriting competition and I won, and I think I was awarded a book. So by God's grace, according to his purpose for my life, he distinguished me early, right from the beginning, that I was the most sharp girl.
So what was it like growing up?
And moreover, loved by my extended family. I was born in a huge family, especially with my mother's side. Now, we went to school, both of us. One, I must tell you are enough right now, that my passion for gender equality and women's empowerment, which I have lived for, whether in office or out of office, was born out of my lived experience in the village, seeing the girl children being discriminated, suppressed, are not treated as full human beings in their own right. So that is where the journey begins. My mother was having these children, first boy, girl. So I was coming after a boy, my brother, who was the third born and I was the fourth. So usually you relate to the one you are near to. Now, my lived experience was learned in relation to how my brother was being treated and how I was discriminatorily treated. As I said, my father put us in school, all of us. We were a rural family, but near the school.
So you'd walk there?
Our life was not easy. In the morning, you'd get up, even when I was 7 years, you go to 6 o'clock, you are in the garden, you go to dig. My nails, I would cut my nails with a hoe, and instead of being soothed and comforted, you would come home, they would beat you because you are lazy. How did you cut yourself? Oh my God. Ours was a terrorist sort of upbringing. But I'm glad it turned us into who we are, rather than a relaxed upbringing, which is taking children to drink marijuana and that kind of thing. So from there, the bell would be going at school, and for me at home, you talk of breakfast, where was it? It was not there. We didn't even have water to wash our feet. So you run down, the grass, you are passing through the grass, and the dew would be the one to wash your feet, and you reach school and they see you are so dirty and they beat you. Oh my God. It was a life which I wouldn't want any child to experience, especially at this time.
Those are things
now, so that was the life. And when you come back lunchtime, as soon as you arrive at home, my mother you'd find her peeling matoke. Imagine you are supposed to go back, but she would be peeling matoke, putting on fire. She tells you, go and fetch water. My brother goes into the plantation to pick some pieces of wood, put in the fire, and then she would be putting matoke in the sufuria and put some salt. You think there was sauce? You put salt, then when the bell rings, she would do like this, the food, the one at the bottom, she puts in cold water, and cold water was very poor water from the well. I tell you how we survived, I don't know. And then we would cool it. When you have taken like 2 bites, the bell again would ring, and then you run to school and you are late and they beat you, and that was the life throughout. And when you come in the evening, you know, you find the duties are located. I have to go and peel matoke and cook, and my brother has to take the goats for grazing and come with firewood. You know, that kind of experience. That is the life that we lived. But in the midst of this, we are going to school. But then what I observed was, whenever there would be no school fees, because certainly they would chase us back home. When the term begins, they chase you back home for school fees. And when you reach there, then my brother's school fees would be found within about 2 days. But for me, it would take 2 weeks or a month before I get school fees. And that was not going down well with me in my life. I was asking in my heart, why? For him, he's gone back, me, I'm still here. But of course, you had nobody to ask. Those days, you ask a parent? No, you can't ask. And then the second thing was that my mother was a woman leader, Mothers Union, and she was a Christian woman. So in a week, 5 days, 2 out of those days, either in the afternoon she would go for fellowship, or she's going for Mothers Union meeting, and the other Thursday, I think, was a market day. So whenever in the afternoon she was going for those programs, I would not go to school in the afternoon. I would stay at home, take care of the siblings. And so that means in a week I go to school in the whole day for 2 days. The other 3 days I'm staying at home, and yet my brother will continue studying.
So let me ask, how about the older sister? You had an older sister as well.
Well, they were there. I wouldn't go into their life was not my question. What determined my direction was this one I'm near with. I see we should go together, we should go, but she goes to school, I'm not going, and the thing was not auguring well with me. And leave that aside, it even opened my eyes that the neighbors, the girls in the neighborhood were not going to school, and yet the boys were going to school. Only those girls, families where they had class, you know, rich people like teachers, headmasters, and chiefs, their children, all of them would go to school. But at least for me, I had that advantage of being a rural villager, and yet my father loved school. So she was taking all of us to school. And then what made matters worse was that even the girls, as I told you, that women used to come from Mothers Union or whatever, my mother was a leader, and they would sit with her and they would tell their stories, crying, and you know, about the what they were suffering in the homes. Me, I would do, as a girl, I would be there listening, and all this thing was adding together to disturb my mind. And then to put it to a climax, one time there was my father's sister who was married to whom I would call a vagabond, because this man used to go far. We would say he's gone to Uganda to work as a laborer for so many months, and then the woman is taking care of the children, is doing everything, and when he would come back, moreover coming back with nothing, not even anything, then after about 3 days he would beat this violent, he would beat this woman, my aunt, and my aunt would run home for safety, for refugee. And would be happy to have her there at home for us. We don't mind what was going on. But then after about 3 or 4 days, then my father would start now bashing her. You look what you are useless. That's why you failed to make your home. That's why your husband is chasing you away. And then in my mind I would say, but who is useless? This one who has been taking care of the children, or the other one who goes and comes with nothing and beats her. But the answer which my aunt used to bring were burning, inspiring fire in me, because she would say, I'm not useless, I brought cows in this home through bride price.
Yes.
Then she would say, I'm not useless, I bought boys for this man.
Yes.
And then I would say, but she's the one bearing children and she says boys for this man. What about girls? You know, all those combined together and were in my mind, the mind of a young child. They were disturbing me, but I have nobody to ask. Until one time, I think somebody was murdered in a village there. Those days it was extremely rare for somebody to die. But when people were gathering and discussing, and they said, that one will buy a pleader. I said, a pleader, who is a pleader? They said a pleader is somebody who pleads for other people. I said, then I want to be a pleader and plead for women and girls. Why are they treated like this? And then I asked, what do you have to do to be a pleader? They said, you have to study law. So at 9 years, I had made up my mind to study law. I was wondering why they cannot be treated as full human beings. Then I was told that women, they are women, they are girls.
Can you imagine such an answer?
Women and girls, that's their lot. They are like that. That's how they have to be treated. I said, what? They are not human beings. I will grow up and study law and plead for them. So when you see me, some people, when I got up on the public platform with all this fire, which had been brewing in my heart for so long, people started saying, this woman bringing here English things, that they are bringing white people things here. I had not seen a woman, a white person. By the time I made up my mind that I would fight for the women, I had not. Now, good enough, down the road, my brother reaches P6.
Yes.
And he repeats. So I find him in P6 and we studied together, despite the fact that he was attending all school and I was not attending all the time. Now we go together in P7. When we reached P7, that's when by that time P8 stopped. Otherwise there used to be P8. So it stopped and we did exams in P7. So when we did exams in P7, I won. I passed in grade A and he did not pass. Those days, if you don't get first grade,
that is it for you.
You have to repeat. So I passed in grade A and he went in B. Can you imagine? Despite the fact that I was not attending all these classes, I had already distinguished myself as the brilliant one. But I was a girl. Anyway, I went to Weranyanji Girls Secondary School. For him,
now, sorry, he went
to repeat. Rutoma Primary School. Now I go to Weranyanji Girls Secondary School, a boarding school. Mark you, that is the first time I bought like a second dress. That is the first time. I used to be in uniform. I didn't have spare dresses. I never put on shoes. I've never... Hey, you are joking. When you see people here, you think things were like that. Things were tough. But one good thing is our parents were not greedy. Our parents were not beggars. They were not standing to beggars. They knew that they would do the work and pay school fees for their children. They did all this. So now I go to Weranyanji, go to senior 1. My brother goes to repeat. Next year, I got senior 2. And he goes to senior 1. Do you know what happened? My father tells my mother, you go and bring that girl from senior school so that some can go to secondary school. Because they didn't have fees for two children. So I think the other elder people had not gone to, we did better than them. My big brother, I think, became a clerk, court clerk somewhere after P8. And my sister was not doing well, she was still in whichever class. But now they came to withdraw me from senior to take me to a teacher training college. Because that time, the teacher training college in Kakoba, which used to train the primary school teachers, you would not pay school fees. So they wanted the boy, because he's a boy, to go to senior secondary school. And because I'm a girl, I come back and do teacher training to become a teacher. And I said, why? I said, I am not going. The headmistress said, no, you've got to be sorry for your parents. They don't have enough money. I said, why don't they take this boy to the to study teaching? And me, they leave me because I want to study law.
Yes.
Can you imagine the teacher was even, the headmistress was a woman. But she could not see my argument. She said, I've got to feel sorry for these parents. I said, why not
my brother?
He said, no, you go home. I asked this teacher, I hear of bursary. Some people get bursary, the poor and the orphans. Said, where can I get bursary? Can't I get bursary? He said, where? You go to Mbarara District Education Officer, maybe you get the bursary. So I asked my mother, do you know where the education office is? He said, I know where it is, but I can't speak English. I said, you know what? You let's go. Take me there, I will speak the English. Yes. And I was 14 years. I won't take you into this horror story. But I reached there, the district education officer, and we sat there the whole day. I'm there in my uniform from morning to lunch time. People were going in, people going out. I don't know how to go in, I don't know. So when I peeped there like 1 o'clock, the man opened the door and he was coming out following the guest.
Yes.
Then when he saw us seated there, he said, woman, what can I do for you? Me, I stood up. When I saw it, I told my mother, stop. We stood up and my mother stood up. Said, woman, what can I do for you? Asking my mother, me, I said, sir, I want fees. I want school fees.
Yes.
I started crying.
Good confidence.
And she said, okay, you come in. So he left his friend even who was taking for lunch. So they came in, we sat there. I told him my story. They are very unfair. I want to study law there. So the man said, okay, don't worry. You go back to school. We shall get back to you. So I told my mother, the man has said, you go home, me, I go back to school.
Yes.
So I went back to school. Within about a week, the message came. This headmistress who had come to shatter my hopes, now she came running. Miss Koburunga, I have good news, you've got bursary. So from senior 2 up to the end of my education, bursary.
But
And
I
then,
like.
Can you imagine that boy even stopped at senior 4? When she finished senior 4 in Barai school, he went to do electric technician.
And your dreams were going to be
and I'm the one who have taken care of all the children of those brothers and sisters of mine.
Now, if you didn't have the fighting spirit, you are going to end up.
I was finished. I would have died long ago because you see, at my age, go teaching at about 16 or 17, they would have married me off, and then I started delivering, maybe dying in childbirth. I am telling you, there are so many, especially many young girls, especially now that there is no bursary,
that is true,
whose dreams are shattered, whose destinies have been constrained. Because along this journey of life, you have dream killers. Can you imagine the dream killers were my own parents?
People,
they were now going to kill my dream. But I managed it. I fitted them and then continued, went to HSC, continued with my dream of studying law. And then when I reached HSC in Namasagari College, it was called Kamuli College, but eventually became Namasagari Secondary School. That's when I studied British parliamentary history. And they were debating what the parliamentarians were saying in parliament. That's when I learned that law is made in parliament. So my dream to become a lawyer at HSC level was extended to becoming a member of parliament. Because if I become a lawyer and I find that the law which is there is not good, then I would go in parliament and change the law and make the law say what is right for women and girls. And all along in my life, I was dreaming of a time when I would get a high heel or at least a hero, a platform.
Yes.
And I would call all the women and girls. Of course, I was thinking girls and boys in my village. No, girls and women in my village,
Yes.
Toma. I never thought I would go beyond.
Yes.
But my dream was I would call these girls and women and I tell them, come, let us fight. We are cheated. Let us fight for our rights. That was what was always in my heart. When I finished HSC, with now my dream to become a lawyer, study law and become a member of parliament. Now I put choice to Makerere to study law. And then my father, when they called me to study law, my father once again wanted to kill my dream. He said, no, you cannot study law. Girls don't study law. Not in my house. I will ostracize you. You people, you are joking. When you see yourself studying any profession, because we fought. It's a result of our fighting, you know. But people now don't know. They are complacent. They don't know what we went through. So I said, this man, after all, he said, you are not going. I said, maybe I study medicine. He said, no, women can't study. Go and study law or teaching. You know, when I saw it was reaching nowhere, I told him, you know what? I'm not the one who called myself.
Yes.
You go to Makerere
and tell them
and ask tell the headmaster.
Yes.
You think my father knew of vice chancellor or whatever? I say go to Makerere and tell the headmaster is the one who called me. He's the one to change the course. Because he didn't know where to begin to go to Makerere, a village in Ultoma village. I was able to take my mother to education officer for my own benefit.
Yes.
But this time I could not lead my father to Kampala to destroy my dream. So he gave up.
Yes.
So I defeated him. But anyway, I had even said anyway, if this man ostracizes me, let him go ahead. After all, he didn't pay school fees. Now when I finish, when I'm ostracized, I don't have to. He doesn't have to depend on me because I want to give him my money. But anyway, I managed. The dream was never killed. I went to Makerere University, where I studied my law and passed with a second class degree, second honors.
Now, a quick reminder, we are here at Daughters Exclusive, and I must say, she mentioned something very important, that if it wasn't for her and people like her to fight, to push, to go against what we used to call, what we would call the status quo, then many young girls might have lost opportunities in today's society. Now, of course, the struggle still continues, but we still have people like her to speak and talk about these things. Now, when you're listening out there and you're a man or a boy and a girl or a woman, it is meant to show you that we cannot start limiting people just because, oh, you're a girl, you cannot do this. If they have potential in a sense and they can do it, why don't let these people do it? Because it has nothing to do with how it affects them biologically, it has nothing to do with the biology. So why do you stop someone from going on and improving themselves? Now, I want to take you back a bit, Doctor. Now, when you mentioned being in Werananje, single school, when you go to Werananje, it's a single school, it's a boarding school. You've been at home in an environment where you've taken lead, you've had to step in. Of course, like you said, you were pushed to the side because you had to create space for your brother. So what was it like getting into a school that only had girls? What did you identify? What did you see? Did you see something similar from what you saw back at home?
I mean, I don't think that changed any perception because we were all young girls, we were studying, we were, but except that, of course, the experience I had, I was a poor girl, others went with mattresses, me, I went with a cross with what do you put in those things.
Yes.
Cotton wool, put in the cloth, and you know, and we used my experience at that place, which I'll share with these people who are poor, who now ask for pocket. There was no pocket money for me. The parents would give me money for transport and back. And good enough, another thing which I want to say at that school, compared to what is happening here, there was no class society. It depended on your brains. You are wise and intelligent, You find yourself studying with ministers' daughters. I remember one of the ministers' daughter we were studying with was Katiti. There was Honorable Katiti, and Anna Katiti was my schoolmate. There were this Rwangai, he was a very important man. Those rich people in Kampala and so on, they were there with us. For them, they would have with pocket money, they would come with a lot of things, extra dresses and so on. But you know what I used to do? For me, there used to be this canteen. So we break off in the evening. The rich people, the rich women would want to go and buy cakes and buneno, you know, the nuts and for tomorrow's break tea. When we went for break, they would run to their halls and take some juice, quencher, and cakes and so on. So what I did, I used to have my roommate. I was on top. She was the one on the deck on top. Then I was down. So she was coming from a rich family. So every time we break off for evening, she would give me money to go and line up. Other people go to study and do their prep. For me, I'm lining up at the canteen because you had to line up because children were many. Line up and buy the cakes and the nuts. And when I bring to them, she would give me a cake, at least one cake. So also the next day when their break time, I'll get some water. And they think I have juice. I put water in my glass and have a cake also. So that's how I managed to get through. People say pocket money, they do what. But you see how we grew up and who we are. Let me tell you one thing I want to tell the young people listening to me, that your past cannot determine your future. The past cannot determine your future. I remember when I wrote my first book, the first autobiography I wrote, it is Miriam Matembe, Gender, Politics and Constitution Making in Uganda. And I told this story and some woman came and said, but how can you embarrass yourself telling this kind of story? Imagine. Somebody said, why are you embarrassing yourself? Like what I'm telling people like I would go and line up. That I would go and line up to get cake. And those people I lined up to get cakes for. Those people I went with Beranyanji with. Those people with nobody has reached my level. My level of achievement in this country. They are not there. They are not there.
And that's part of your story, how someone
I remember only my friend who is now, we used to compete together throughout primary. We even went to secondary together. We went to Masaka together. At least she's the only one now with me, next to me. When I left, she even studied law afterwards. So when I left Parliament, she contested. She didn't go through, but eventually she became a minister also. So we are like this. We are like two sisters. But for me, when she was studying for her, she had aunties who would bring her extra dresses. She was, even up to now, in terms of resources and whatever, she's better than me. But for me, because I was driven by a dream, if you asked me, have you achieved what you wanted? I was looking at calling people in my village to tell them, let's fight for ourselves. Little did I know that I would run with this message, that I would run with it internationally in the whole world. When one day I stood at Nigeria, was it first time in Nigeria, to speak, I stood up to speak on behalf of Uganda on a conference for women after Nairobi conference. That was the beginning. When I stood up and spoke, people, all the press ran after me. And then they said they must call me to Tanzania. There was a conference on popular participation and they called me. Then I went to Dar es Salaam. I stood on a podium when I spoke on behalf of the women of Africa. they drew a cartoon. Somebody drew a cartoon of what I was saying, and it circulated in the whole conference. And then there, of course, many other conferences. And whenever I would stand to speak on behalf of Africa, what I would say is what would matter. And I remember towards Beijing, when we held the African conference preparation for Beijing, I was like the leader of all these recommendations which were being made in Senegal. And then when I stood up in 1995 on a Beijing International Conference for Women in Beijing, and I made a statement on behalf of the subject, I was invited by UN, by the way, and the subject was strategies to increase women's participation in politics. And when I stood up and talked, I got a standing ovation in the whole. Now, when you ask me that, Miriam, did you realize the objective? When I was saying I would call this village, now I'm talking to the whole world. That is one. Then the other achievement, of course, we have come to this achievement, Ari, but then the other achievement was when I was thinking I would go to law, to parliament and make law. Little did I know that one day I'll be one of the 21 member commission, the Odochi Commission, to be the one to draft the national constitution for Uganda, a constitution, the mother of all laws. And then I also went into CA, the Constituent Assembly, to debate the draft constitution and pass it. Not only did I didn't stop there, I was even on the committee, legal and drafting committee, which completed this constitution and like put a stamp onto this is the final constitution. Oh my God. For me, I don't know what to give God in life. Because in life, what did I want? That's what I told you what I wanted. That's what I wanted. And if you know how many women, how many people I have had an impact on.
So many.
For me, don't ask me about wealth I don't have. Don't ask me about any other thing. But I have a passion, I have a vision, I have God's purpose in my life. He gave me the talents of my mouth. I stand up and speak, and there it is.
But what was it like being now away from home? You're in Kampala now, you're probably starting over, or you had relatives around?
My Kampala story was very long. Remember, I had to go to HSC in Namasagari. It's also another story. It had been late. That's when they reached the elections. There was no cheating of. The first cheating in exams happened in 1970 when we were finishing Bwenanyanji. And we rural people stayed at home, didn't know that there was cheating, and therefore cheating interrupted with the calling of students to go to study. So I kept waiting for my call. It never even came. So by the time it came, I had already missed like a whole 2 terms, and we had to get somebody. I talked to my father, talked to somebody to go, and they secured me a place in Namasagari. It was not easy. There were many, the number of dream killers. But I managed to get through and reached Makerere. In Kampala here, I had an aunt. I remember the first time I got into a vehicle to go to Namasagari. Mark you, I had never left Kampala, not even reaching Nakawa there, because we were living at 16 Tanan Avenue, East Nakasero there. That's where my aunt and husband were living. And when I used to come to Kampala, I would pass there. So I had to get into a vehicle, reach Jinja. I had never heard these other languages. I reached Jinja. And then they were calling people, Idinda. I said, but what is Idinda? I couldn't understand Idinda. But anyway, I got into the vehicle, asked where is Namasagari College. They didn't even know, but how do you even ask them? Anyway, we went to reach Kamuri town. And then the bus was calling, Namsagar, Namsagar. What is Namsagar? I didn't know Namsagar. I was asking people, where is Kamuni College? They said, oh, you go Namsagar. So Kamuni College was at Namsagar. So I got into that bus and we go. When we reached at the stage, I think it was the trading center, I saw Kamuni College pointing there, the sign pointing. I jumped out of the bus. I said, even if it is how many kilometers, at least I've seen where it is going. When I got out of the bus, the bus took off and continued in the same road. But anyway, I walked and I found the distance was near there. And then I talked with this teacher, the headmaster. He told me, for me, I beat students. I said, me, I can never be beaten. I laughed. He said, you mean you beat? How? He said, yeah, he'll beat you. And he was beating them. But me, I said, I can never be beaten. And this was the third term of senior 5. I had missed all the but when I reached there and entered my classroom, my determination was to finish and study law. And there was even, we used to go dancing. Namsagar was a unique thing there. But anyway, I managed to, I had focus. One thing, what I want to tell the young women listening to me, the moment you have a childhood dream, when you have a dream, in other words, a purpose, a vision, however much it is interrupted, however much dream killers come, as long as you have, you'll stay on course and with your God, because it is God's purpose for your life, you will realize it. So when I finished Makerere, I finished Makerere at the wrong time, because Amin had already taken over. Amin took over before I went to Makerere. He took over when we had I had gone to HSC, senior 1, HSC.
Senior 5, yes.
Senior 5. So he took over Kampala, and that's when he banned minis. If I tell you my journey with my mini dress, at one time I was arrested for putting on mini. And it was not mini, but I think it was harassment.
Yes,
the police
they intended to sort of exaggerate.
They wanted to rape, I think so. Girls. If I was not vocal by nature, I think they would even have raped me. Because I had reached Kampala in the morning.
Yes.
I had reached, we go travel by bus in the morning. When I was getting out of the bus, this man says, you are in a mini. They arrested me. He was having other people. He was crazy, arresting people. They are planting marijuana, going to the rural areas. So it was like about 3 o'clock. He took me to police station. So when I reached there, they used to have an uncle. Yes. He was called Rwakanenjere, and I knew he was a police commander. Yes. There in Mbarara, over police head. Yes. Then I asked when I was entering, I asked where is he? They told me his office was that. So when these people said, you remove the shoes, yes. They told me, you know, I used to be an athlete. I used to run. I used to. So, and I was shot like this. So I did like this and went and stormed into his office. Yes. I stormed into his office and he said, Kovrunga, what is it? I said, these people are arresting me that I'm putting on mini. I said, who is this? I said, he's called Inspector Chigozi. You think Inspector Chigozi was not sacked? Because when I came, he said, you? My daughter, law student at Makerere, Inspector Chigozi, go home. So I survived. I went through many challenges, but those are other stories which you cannot reveal.
I like.
But I finished that, and then by the time I finished university, of course, when we went into university, that's when they banned trousers. One interesting story, which was, it was interesting because my roommate used to sit there and laugh as I told the story. When I reached Makerere, you know, by then Makerere, they were getting what they called boom. Okay. It was the government giving them pocket money and allowance. So the first term, we got that boom. And when I got it, Oh, but I haven't told you my father's story. You know, when I finished HSC, I was teaching.
Yes.
This License teacher.
Yes.
And then my father said, okay, when you teach, you bring me your money, and I'll go and I will give you a bull when you are going to the university. So he would come and take the money.
Yes.
By then, the communities we lived in were really wonderful communities, because where I was teaching was a distance from my home. You see, my father would come with one bunch of matoke and a can, not a can, a chance, I don't know what you call it, of milk.
Yes.
That would be for me for a whole month. He would not come back, but he would bring that and take my money to pay school fees for all my siblings. I'm telling you the difference that has happened in this country. That's why more people are poorer and more people are not educated. Because for me, my education helped to educate all my siblings. Because even after O-level, I was teaching. Then after A-level, my father would take my money to pay school fees for my siblings. Then the villagers where I was, they would feed me. They loved me. They said, oh, our teachers, because I was teaching their young people in primary. So they would bring me chicken. They would call me to their homes to eat. They became like my parents, which cannot be now. Things have really changed. And then at the end of it all, when I was left with 1 month, I told my father, you know what? Where is the bull? Give me the bull I want to, because I'm going to market, I want to buy things. So he asked me, what do you want to buy? I say handbag, then I would be having a small one from Mutunda. But you have a handbag. Then I say, but I want shoes, but you have shoes. I want dresses, you have that dress. Those were not fit for Makere. And then when I said I looked for something I didn't have, I say I want a watch. Then he said, hey, Kovrunga, have you forgotten what I told you? Because they had told us as we grew up, two principles. Never desire what you cannot afford for you. Never put yourself at the level you have not reached. So those are the two value principles that have sustained my life. When you see me Minister of Integrity and that kind of thing, those integrity values have sustained me up to now. So I grew up not desiring what my parents can't afford and not putting at myself at a level I have not reached. We grew knowing that there were a level of peasants. They cannot desire what the teachers. There was a level of headmaster, the level of a nurse, the level of a chief. So you children of peasants, you can't put yourself at that level. And so you get satisfied with what you have.
And he reminded
so
you.
He said, you Kovrunga, have you forgotten? I told you not to put yourself at a level you have not reached. And I said, surely, if at a university level, I have not reached at that level, when shall I reach at that level? And mark you, I was the first woman girl, the first girl in that village or at our village or even in the county, I think, the county of Kashari, to go to university and a lawyer.